Okay, I've got about 4 minutes after, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully, a few more people will be joining as I get started. My name's Dallas Jones, and I'm VP at Ecosense. And I came on board about 2 years ago after retiring as the executive director from Arston NRPP. And I was talking to Ecosense about investing in their company because I like this sensor so much. And as we went through that process, I decided, why not? I really didn't want to retire anyway, so this is fun. Working with some exciting people who are doing some new things and being able to have fun creating some new products and software designs and that sort of thing. So I appreciate the opportunity to work with everybody at Ecosense. So tonight we're going to be talking about EcoGuard, which is both a long-term radon monitoring service as well as a post-mitigation active alert system. I'm going to go through some slides, and then I'm going to show you some updates that will be coming out by Monday, if not earlier. For those of you who are already using us, this will be something a little new. And if you're not using us already, then hopefully it will be of great interest and convince you to come on board and get started. So I think unless you're in perhaps Pennsylvania or Illinois, maybe Ohio is one of those states, you're operating under the NCR standards, and if you're a mitigator, there's the requirement that you include a description for operation, maintenance, and monitoring, and that document should include maintenance of installed systems and guidance for monitoring the effectiveness of the system in the future. But as we all know, most systems get installed and people forget about radon shortly thereafter, and they seldom get monitored, even retested every 2 years, as is recommended. So I think we've got a solution here that you can be offering that'll be of great service to your clients. There's also a portion of the standard mitigation standard that says an active alert should be a part of the installation, something that would actively notify the client that the mitigation system had failed. And that notification would either be an audible notification, a visual light, or a notification by telemetric means, such as an email or other electronic communication. It doesn't have to be all three, but at least one of those. And most people that are operating under that guidance and requirement in some states are using pressure sensors. And these pressure alarms have been around for a couple of years now. And if you've used them before, then you are probably aware of some of the drawbacks. But it was the only technology really available to use as an alert at the time the standard was first put together. But we know audible alarms irritate homeowners. We've all had a smoke detector go off in our kitchen when we're trying to cook something on the stove, and it creates some smoke and it goes off. And more often than not, we just pull the battery out of it because we can't get it to stop. And then we forget to put it back in. Or we've seen and heard stories of these sensors that get a little dust sucked inside the tube that can trigger the alarm, and really there was nothing wrong. And then more importantly, from my perspective, is an active fan doesn't necessarily mean that the system is controlling the radon. There could be water in the pipe. The fan may be on and maintaining some pressure of some sort, but there's a blockage with water or other situations. So as I mentioned, continuous monitors for measuring radon were not really available for this type of purpose because they've just been historically too expensive. So what we did at Ecosense is we took our EcoCube, which has been around for some time as a consumer product. And for those of you who don't know, it has a 30 count per hour per picocurie per liter sensitivity. So the sensor gets really, really good hourly readings. And the reason it wasn't originally approved through the NRPP or NRSP was because it just wasn't submitted. It was designed for consumers, and it works on the cloud, and there's an app that the user can monitor their radon concentrations, and we sell a lot of them on our website as well as Amazon. But what we did after I came on board and we started looking at, well, what else could we do with this great sensor and technology, is we changed the firmware and we changed the software where it could do some more things and include some more metadata. And then we ran it through the device evaluation process and got it approved by the NRPP as a blind continuous monitor. In this case, it's a long-term continuous monitor, which is sort of a new category, if you will. And so the premise here is that it's better than a fan pressure alert because it will let you know if the fan shuts off, and will do so with some quickness. It'll let you know pretty quickly, and then but it also has the added benefit of letting you know if the system isn't working for some other reason. But we recognized that mitigators had some concerns about, well, how this would all work. So we got a lot of feedback from folks like yourselves on how we could make this the best product possible to fit your business model. So you'll see on this photo, we have a label that now comes with the units. You can create your own, certainly, but it says this is a component of a radon mitigation system. Do not move or unplug. So we want this to be installed as an integral part of the system, and we think that satisfies the intent of an active alert as long as it's installed that way. We do have some options for how you mount these. You really can't see it very well on this photo, but it's mounted in this case using a selfie stick clamp that could fit on a tripod, but in this case, the little threaded hole that would go on the tripod is the threads are just being bypassed with a screw into the stud. You could put a screw into a wall anchor if you're going to put it on drywall, and it just clips the EcoCube right inside it and holds it very snugly. You can get these on Amazon for about $5.75 for 3. So they're very affordable, and in the future, perhaps we'll start buying them in bulk and maybe even have a better price. And I do talk to some mitigators who have some other options on how they install them, so you don't have to do it that way. One of the clarifications I'd like to make here is this, meaning the EcoGuard unit, is a real continuous monitor compared to other homeowner units, which are really electronic integrating devices. And the key distinction between those is the ability to record individual hourly readings with some certainty. The other units that are sold to homeowners have a very low counting efficiency of like 1 count per hour for every picocurie per liter. So they can't report individual hourly readings. They update the 24-hour average once an hour. So they're always adding in data collected for the previous 23 hours with whatever additional counts they picked up during the most recent hour, and then they report that average. That doesn't qualify as a continuous monitor, and the disadvantage from a CRM perspective is you lose some of the ability to track ups and downs and really see what's going on from morning into night and from week to week and season to season, and draw some good correlation perhaps between the building operation, whether the air handler's on or off, and that sort of thing, to the radon entry. This is a graph where, if you look at the orange colored line, is the data collected from an EcoGuard unit, and it's being compared with an Airthings Wave EID that was at the same location. And you can see that in this little demonstration, we shut the mitigation fan off right here on the 22nd of October. And it didn't take long at all for the radon concentrations to spike up above 4 and continue to spike. So that would certainly let you know something happened. And then the system was off for 73 hours. This was in October in Georgia, and weather was not necessarily cold. The heat may or may not have been running, and more than likely there were times when the windows were open in the house. So you can see it went up and it came down and back up again. But you can also see that the wave was very slow to respond because it's averaging in the last 24 hours with every reading, and then it never quite is able to respond to the peaks. And then when the mitigation system was turned back on again, you could see how the EcoGuard immediately responded as the levels fell, but it took quite some time afterward before the Airthings actually showed that the concentrations were less than 4. This is another example where we had just an EcoGuard unit. It was keeping the mitigation system was keeping the concentrations below 2 on average. We turned the fan off. You could see this was in September, so it was even more mild as far as the weather. But you can see how the radon concentrations rose and with peaks, approaching 5 picocuries per liter. And then there was this 48-hour average period where the average was 4.2. And then we instructed the homeowner to turn the system back on. And then you can see how quickly the radon concentrations fell. And the system maintained the concentrations well below 2 until we decided to play again and shut the system off, and you can see how it climbed back up again with another 48-hour period above 5. We tested this out to see just how well you could verify that the system was shut down. Here's an example of an EcoGuard that was in a home from February until the middle of September. And you can see that once the system was installed, the radon concentrations came down very low. The average was maintained at like 1.7. It started to turn up just here at the end, and this is when we had the mitigator work with the homeowner to turn the system off to verify how quickly it could respond. So, by the way, as I go back to that one, this particular mitigator has over 100 EcoGuard units out in Tennessee, and he's using it as a quality assurance and peace of mind type opportunity for his clients. He's finding that the large portion of his clientele is happy to pay extra for a program that includes service and monitoring, and he's done real well with building a large volume of customers so far. By the way, we have another customer in New Jersey who has about 120 units out already, and he didn't start the program until April. So he's doing really well with this also. So originally we had EcoGuard out before we even made some changes and made it more appropriate for what we're doing with it now. But it always had the ability to provide real-time hourly readings. And it comes with a dashboard where you as the professional can monitor all the different units you have out in the field across your entire service area. Um, uh, Tracks the device locations and client information, and you could always go in and prepare like a monthly summary report and email it to your clients. And you also have the option to share the mobile app. That was a question I got from one of the folks who registered for the webinar tonight. Well, can you share the app or not share the app? Do you have an option? Yes, as the professional, you can choose to share the app with your client, or you can choose not to share it, and you could communicate with them through monthly reports and provide information to them that way. And then we have since added some other features, including push and email alert notifications. So one of the things that we realized early on was what happens if the device comes off the Wi-Fi because the client changes their Wi-Fi service company, or let's say it was installed while the seller was still there, and then they move out and the buyer comes in. Do you have to go back out to put it back online? And the short answer is no. Every client will have a QR code that you can leave at the site, or you can email to your client. And if they scan that QR code, it will actually open up a request form where they can send you the information. And then I'll show you how this works a little further. You can send them over a link to a little applet that will let them connect to Wi-Fi on your account without actually getting into your dashboard information and seeing, all your business. It'll just let them reconnect to a new Wi-Fi account and password and put it back online where you can see it on your dashboard without you having to go back out. The other thing that we got feedback on last year and implemented earlier this year is the app. In the regular EcoCube, the number that's prominently displayed at the top of the app is the current hourly reading. And we got feedback, well, that could be concerning to a client if you're going to share the app and they look at it and maybe you had an hour or two where it exceeded 4 picocurious per liter, and now they're calling you. So we changed the app for EcoGuard, where you can choose either the 24 or the 48-hour average to be prominently displayed on the top of the app. And you can set that up from the dashboard. I'll show you how that works shortly. And then again, you can still the client can still go down to the bottom and get their day, week, month, and year average and look at the trend charts and so forth. So you can share the app with the client with more comfort, if you will, that they're not going to be hounding you with concerns about a 1-hour reading. We have clients that share their app with all their customers, and then we have some who don't share the app at all. It's certainly up to you, the business model that you want. I talked to one customer, one mitigator, a couple of weeks ago, and they started off not sharing the app, but as they began to get more comfortable in looking at data and that sort of thing, they said, our systems are performing well, and actually it makes it easier to have a conversation with a customer if you're both looking at the same data. So they begin to share apps. You can choose, you don't have to do all or none. You can share the app with some clients and not share it with the other. The other thing is to make it an active alert. Obviously, we had to have a way for you to set it to provide that alert. You can set the alert for 24 hours, meaning if the average concentration exceeds or meets or exceeds 4 picocuries per liter, or whatever action level you set, then it will send a push notification and or an email. You can also set it for 48 hours. Most of our clients, I think, are choosing that option, where it's not going to notify anybody unless you have a 48-hour period where the concentration meets or exceeds the action level. And then there is no audible alarm on this at all, because all our surveys found that was irritating for both the mitigator and the homeowners. So it's all emails and push notifications. The other thing that we did when we changed the software was give the ability for you as the professional to put all the metadata in, where you could create a compliant test report and meet the NCR standards. So on the app, as you set it up, you put in whether there's a mitigation system installed or not, the building type, the floor that you're installing it on, the room type, the structure type, and so forth. And then the cool thing here is that you can install and initialize the unit immediately upon your mitigation being activated, and then go ahead and activate it online. And then after after the system's run for that 24-hour period that's required, and then you've gotten at least 48 hours of data past that, you can request a report, a compliant NCR's compliant report for that post-mitigation clearance test. So instead of having to go back with one device or some canisters, something to do your post-mitigation test, you can do it with the EcoGuard unit, and you don't have to go back and pick it up. It will be there to continue to monitor from that point forward. And then the standard says that you should recommend to your clients that they retest every 2 years to ensure that the system remains effective. So obviously, when you install it during that first year, the unit will be within the calibration period of 1 year. But we'll continue to send monthly mitigation performance reports beyond that. And again, these reports are not violating a standard because they're not being used to determine whether the home should be mitigated or not. They're just letting you know that the system is performing or not performing, or how well it's performing. And then you could make part of your program that, at the 2-year period, you make a service call and you swap the unit out with a freshly calibrated unit, one that you just purchased. And as we move forward with this, you can send units back to us and we will recalibrate them. We are opening a calibration facility even as I speak here in Irvine, California. And that should be up and running sometime in September with the approval necessary to do that. So then hopefully we can put these back out and continue to keep the costs low for our customers. So the way these work is the units are $129 each. And that's if you order them in small quantities. If you order 20 units, then that cost will come down $5 each. So you can save $100. If you order 20, they'll come down to $122. And if you order 50, they come down even more to $115. There is a $3.99 per month data service charge that's applied, but that's only for activated units. So if you ordered 20 units and you install your first one, the other 19 are still in your service trucks, then you're not accumulating any data service charges until you actually install them and activate them. And if they come offline for some reason, then that charge stops. What I want to do now is show you a little bit about the dashboard changes that we've just come up with. So let me get over here where I can show you where they are, if I can. Well, let me see. Brian, can you see my dashboard where it says settings?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Wanted to make sure. Thank you. All right. So, um, well, first thing you would do is when you create your account, you're going to put in your account information. You can upload your logo over here where it will show up on reports. Your company information. It'll show your password, but you can go in and change it if you need to do that. Here's your QR code that you can put on your labels out of the system in the event that somebody needs to scan it. Or you can always just email it if there's somebody says, oh, it came offline and they know who to call. Then you can email it that, and as soon as they scan it, they can get that little applet to put it back online. So then I only have one unit on my dashboard. So obviously I'm not a mitigator out putting these things out all over town, but you can see that the status of the unit that's there is activated. We have no units out of sync, meaning what this will do is tell you any units that are, how many units that are offline or something there's an issue with, and they'll be flagged on your list down below. It'll also let you know whether you have any reports that you need to download. So you can see here it's got the device serial number, the device name. You can name it however you can name it, by your client's last name or address, however you want to name it. The latest reading, the average, it's set for a 24-hour average. I'll show you how to change that if you want to set it up for 48 hours. Who the client is, you can put in their name, the status is activated, when it was activated, and so forth. So if you were to click on this, you can see that the data that I'm showing is data that is primarily input from the app when you set it up, but there is some data in here that you will want to go in and make sure that for example, this one right here, activated. You want to make sure that you've activated the unit. And here you can put in whether you want the 24-hour or 48-hour average. So if you were to change this to, say, 48 hours, then on the app, if you choose to share that with them, they will see the 48-hour average at the top. It will, show you what the 30-day average is when it was last synced. You can put in what the threshold is, and we had requests for this that, most mitigators want to use the threshold as 4.0, but if you, wanted to put in a 2.7 because you guaranteed it to, get it down to the World Health Organization threshold, or let's say, something higher, whatever you want to do there, you have an option to change the threshold. And then here you can put in push notification and email notification. So you can choose one or the other or both. So if you'd like to get a push notification and an email notification, just turn them all on. Now, those notifications are going to come to you as the professional. That way, if you have a client, you have a home where the the average concentration was at or above 4 for a 48-hour period, then you get the alert. You can notify or have your staff person notify the client that they need to go check and see if the system's on, and provide some feedback where you can start to investigate whether there's really an issue or not. Obviously, if you live in some really cold part of the country and things are frozen for a while, then it would be a good way to post something on your website when you see some of these are happening, and where people are not worried or be prepared for any inquiries Then you can the serial number and firmware edition will be there, and you can choose peak and curies per liter or becquerels per cubic meter if you're in Canada. Client information, you can put all that in with the address and so forth, and client's phone number. This box here is if you would like the monthly update reports to be automatically emailed out the first week of each month. What we do is if you check that box for any of them you have checked, we will send out a monthly update report, a summary to your client for you during the first week of each month for the previous month. So we're about to end up July. So sometime the first week of August, we'll be sending out monthly summary reports to everyone for the, where they can see what happened at their home during the month of July. And then over here, you've got, whether this mitigation system is installed, which would typically be the case, or perhaps not, what type of home it is, building type, structure type, test floor, room type. You could put it, all that information that you need to have. Now, here's a couple of the things we've just changed, and I'm showing you a dashboard that is our development dashboard, and it should be, like I said, online for everybody to use by Monday, if not during the weekend. So if you get here additional information for a 48-hour clearance test. So you installed the unit when you mitigated the home. It's been 70 or 24 hours plus another 48. So you want to get a post-mitigation clearance test. You can wait longer if you want. Then you would go in here and click, and you can upload a photo. So if you took a photo of the unit when you installed it, took a photo on your phone and saved it, then you can upload that photo and put it in your file on your dashboard. So that way, if you ever have a discussion about what's going on at that property, you will be able to, visually see a photo of where it was placed. You can also put in other photos or screenshots and comments. And then you're going to want to check this ANSI ARST recommendations, where those will go out with that 48-hour clearance test report. And then you can see here is the trend chart and so forth. So once you've done all of that, then you can go right up here to Radon report, and you can click which is a new edition, the 48-hour report. We've been doing this for a while, but it was sort of, you had to make a request via email, and then we would prepare it manually. But now it's all automated, and so you can click that, and then you can see a preview of it. You can see, are you sure you want to generate a report? Now, because this device is not meant to be placed and picked up and placed and picked up, it's supposed to be at the house for at least 3 months, then there's not this ability to have unlimited 48-hour reports. So we will generate 2 each quarter for that particular device. So it's just giving you a little clarification there, and then you can preview the report. And this is just the developers put in the ARS logo for some reason, but that can be your logo. It's going to have it's from us. This is it would be a certified report. You can see it's got all the information needed: the device name, the serial number, all the metadata on the floor and the building type and so forth, the average concentration, as well as the high and the low, how long it was deployed, the chart. And then you can go to the next page, and it will show you all the hourly readings. And if it's Minnesota is the state that it was deployed in, then it will show the Minnesota information required by the state, whichever state. They all have their own unique things they want clients to see. And then it will be signed by our technical director, James Lee, and then myself as the QA officer. We do have a New York ELAP lab approval as well as an NRPP lab approval. We're approved in New Jersey as a measurement business and Illinois as a professional. And we'll have Florida here hopefully by September. This is just some photos that you can upload. The developers just grabbed a couple of things and put them in, so don't pay any attention that what they are. But if you wanted to put some photos of where it was placed and so forth, then you can do that. And then the NCR's recommendations and so forth. So then you can save it and download it and send it to your client, and you don't have to go back. Now, the other thing for the monthly reports, if I go over here to Radon reports, and let's say I click on this one, then you can see that we call these Radon measurement reviews. And this would just give you again, don't pay attention to the ARS logo. That would be your logo. They just grab something. But it would show you this one started July 5th and ran through today. You can see what the concentration is at any point along the graph. And you can put in comments. And this is what your client's going to get every month, where they can feel secure that you did your job and everything's fine at their house. Last thing I wanted to show you here is under support. You can go in if you want to send that applet to your client. Because they contacted you by the QR code and sent you an email where they can remotely put the device back on Wi-Fi. If they have an iPhone, then you would use this one. If they have an Android, then you would use this one. So you just copy it and put it in the email and send it over. And then you can also, you've got some frequently asked questions and answers here if you need to take a look at those. And then last thing, if you have not tried EcoGuard yet, then you can go to ecosense.io and go into the EcoGuard section of the Pro menu, like you were going to look at and perhaps read all about it. And you can actually download. There's a link there to get the sign up for the EcoGuard dashboard. Now you won't have any devices yet, obviously. So to order one to try it out, you would just go into the dashboard and go into orders, which you can see over on the left, and then you can put in the number of units you want and your information, and we will go ahead and process it for you and get them out to you. Now, obviously, if you want more than, if you want 20 or more, then you're going to need to call me and I'll get you the special discount pricing for a bulk order and send you over an invoice that way. I think that's really all I wanted to go over. I've been talking for 45 minutes, so I'm going to stop and check in and see if anybody has any questions. So if you have a question, if you would raise your hand, then I'll know to unmute your mic. No, don't see any hands coming up. Well, let's see. I'll unmute everybody. I think I did. So if you have a question, speak up.
Hi, can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Good. would like to ask if you could review that. I'm not familiar with that measurement unit that you were showing, CPM per
Ah,
curie per liter. I don't know what
yeah, counts per hour per picocurie per liter. That's a great question. Um, so it in essence, that's like the calibration factor. Um, what we're counting are alpha events as the radon decays inside the ion chamber. And so if you look at it this way, if you are getting 30 counts each hour for every picocurie per liter of radon in the environment that you're sampling, then on average you would get 30 times 4 or 120 counts in the hour. So if you got 60 counts in the hour, you would say, oh, that's a 2 picocurie per liter concentration. If you got 240 counts in the hour, then you would say that's an 8 picocurie per liter concentration. Now, that's average. That's the detector sensitivity. Every unit is uniquely calibrated, so they'll move that number, adjust it just a little bit or whatever, where it's as close to exact as they can possibly get. Even though radiation events are, when you're counting them, they're random, so it's not perfect because there's no such thing. But each unit is individually calibrated. So compare that to a device. Let's say you're looking at a Sun Radon 1028. It gets just under 3 counts per hour per picocurie per liter. So in a 4 picocurie per liter concentration, you would expect it to see about 12 counts. Now, again, it's random. So maybe in that concentration, they only picked up 10. Or they picked up 14, or something like that, because it's not going to always be the same if you counted the theoretically the same, the exact concentration over and over and over again. But you can see that with so few counts, when you get a few more or a few less, that error bar is going to be large compared to our device that gets at 4 picocuries per liter, gets 120 counts per hour. If you miss a couple, this time, or get a few extra the next time, that sort of thing, then that error bar is very small. So it just means you have a lot more confidence in the hourly readings. Now, at the end of a 48-hour deployment, then, with a unit that only gets a couple counts per hour, or let's say the Airthings wave that homeowners use, or the Luft or something like that, they get about 1 count per hour per picocurie per liter. So they couldn't even begin to report a number in a 1-hour period because they don't have enough data. So that's why they have to average a 24 hours at a time, where they have enough counts that they can report a number with some certainty. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Speak up. I think I've got all the mics open. I think you can unmute yourself if you would like.
How do I do that?
Well, whoever that is I'm hearing. So who is that?
That's me. I just asked the question.
Oh, okay. Anybody else? Oh, all right. So if you'd like to try one, then like I said, go to our website, find EcoGuard. There's a little button there that says, access the EcoGuard dashboard, and you can go in and sign up for that. And then you can go into orders, and you can order one and try it out. When you get it, give me a call and we'll walk you through the whole setup. If you're a customer, I see some customers like Charlie. Hello, thanks for joining. If you're using our devices and you saw something that I went over and and you want to talk about it or have some other feedback for us, then by all means, give me a call anytime. Again, my name's Dallas Jones, and my email is djones@ecosense.io. I think you will be receiving a post-webinar little survey. If you have a minute, can answer what you thought about it. If you have any other questions, you can put them there. But probably the fastest thing to do, if you've got a question or a concern or a suggestion or whatever, then send me an email. I appreciate you all attending, and have a good evening.